Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Sarah, and I wanted to just show you a watercolor and ink sketch I did of my dog Phoebe after found a picture of her from a trip we had in Arizona. She had just gotten done eating birdseed out of a container, and my brother-in-law had told her to stop eating it, and she looked at him and took a couple extra chomps before he could get over there to stop her. Anyway, she was always getting into things. She was a good dog, living her best life and having a good time. I was doing this sketch and this watercolor and ink sketch in a journal my sister gave me. It has handmade paper in it, so it is very absorbent. The watercolors don't flow, so which is nice in this type of application because it dries very quickly. The ink and the watercolor sink in and they dry very quickly. I'm using a grid method to trace her out onto this paper because I know what she looks like and it's pretty specific on what she looks like. And so I'm just following a grid I had on my reference photo and tracing her in here. I'm just using an HB pencil and sketching her in. I'll turn on some music now while I finish sketching her in and come back when I start the watercolor and inking. Okay, so I have erased some of the lines here, the heavier pencil lines. I'm just coming in with my dip pen and some black Speedball ink to trace my pencil lines where I want to have that darker ink underneath the watercolors. I'm using a really light hand here because I think most of the watercolors are stand in for themselves here as opposed to the line work and the ink work here, though the ink will help add some opacity to the darker areas. So you'll see me go into some of these darker areas with a little bit more ink. And I wanted to add some texture behind Phoebe to simulate the gravel in the picture, but not really take up too much time in the watercoloring of putting in a bunch of little rocks. So anyway, I'm now finishing up erasing all of the extra pencil lines and making sure, it was a kneaded eraser, so there wasn't any eraser bits. And I'm going to come in with my watercolors. I have a blend in here right now of some burnt umber, indigo, and sepia. And I'm going to come in and just really lightly come in to get rid of the white paper and get started. And then I come in with a little bit of yellow ochre and permanent yellow to come into the light areas. Then I come and start darkening areas up as I go along. So I'll just let you watch me watercolor, and basically I'll just keep going back dark to light and then adding midtones until I'm happy with it. So here's where I start working to add highlights. The paper is so absorbent that I couldn't lift really where I needed to lift. So I used Chinese white to come back in and add some highlights. It was a very sunny day and warm in the desert. So I wanted to be sure that really bright, stark contrast of light really hit hard on this photo or on this painting from the photo. So I keep playing with the highlights and the shadows to really amp up the contrast. It was a really bright and sunny day and quite warm in Arizona. So I wanted to give that feeling of heat and make that apparent in this painting. So I just kept playing with that. I came back in and I added some Chinese white here and there to allow for that contrast. So here's the final photo. I was really happy with the way it turned out, especially on this paper since it's not really watercolor paper. I like the drama and the color and the contrast, and hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing and commenting, and maybe even sharing it with your friends. Hope you have a wonderful day, and take care. Bye.